Fostering connection through vulnerability, the People Pleaser podcast validates struggles, celebrates growth, and inspires positive change. Together, let's embrace authenticity, challenge patterns, and evolve with compassion. Hello, and welcome to the People Pleaser podcast. It's Corie, and thank you for joining me. I have been, I've just been feeling pretty good, pretty full, I would say, like in kind of a replenished way. I took a trip home to Victoria this past weekend, and I just came home feeling recharged, and not necessarily like energetically, like I'm actually kind of exhausted from all the travel, but yeah, I think replenished is the best word for it. To just go home, to lay eyes on some of my friends, my family, my city, and to kind of feel confident in where I'm at. I think that because I've just been in Washington ever since I moved, I haven't gone home. It's been hard to really gauge, like, how am I feeling about this? Because I know that I'm feeling good while I'm here in Washington, but there was a part of me that worried that I would be homesick or that I would be just missing parts of home. And what this trip showed me is that I do miss home, and there are parts of home that I haven't exactly replicated here in Washington, but that it just felt so good to go and visit those things or those people. And it also felt really good to tell people how my life has been, what I've been up to, and to come home and just feel like grounded in my life here in Washington with my husband. So I'm feeling good. I'm also feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I am in a new course in my master's program, and it's a research methods course. And this is way far out of my comfort zone. The program I'm in is counseling psychology, and I definitely was considering the counseling part of the program a lot more than I was considering the psychology part of the program. And so we're teetering on statistics and kind of more qualitative and quantitative studies, and it's just requiring me to, I guess, just get a little uncomfortable and to learn new things. And it can be a little bit overwhelming to learn new things and to feel a little bit lost, especially when it feels like the stakes are high. So that is just something I'm navigating. And all in all, I know that I will persevere, that I will be okay, that I'm not afraid of moving through this, but it's a little bit hard right now. So today I want to talk to you about something that seems to be something that has come up in conversation more than once with more than one person as of late. And I think it's coming from my fellow people pleasers. And it is the situation where we feel like we are put in positions to listen, and that as a result, we are not really being afforded the opportunity to share. So kind of this uncalibrated approach to relationship where there's somebody who is in the listener role and there is someone in the sharing role. And this is something that I know that I've spoke to in this podcast before as it pertained to my relationship with my husband, especially when we were in the long distance portion of our relationship and we relied really heavily on FaceTime. And just to kind of bring that conversation back briefly, the dynamic was that if my husband didn't ask me point blank how I was or how my day was, I would withhold that information, and I would then build resentments in because I wasn't, given this opportunity to share about my day or how I'm doing and my feelings. And I was just kind of resentfully listening to him talk about his day. And we have now had many conversations about how this isn't personal and how this is just like an opportunity for me to speak up and say, hey, like, and this is what my day was. And I still do stand by the fact that, or the belief that it does feel good to be asked. But I know that with my husband and our relationship, him not asking isn't because he doesn't care or isn't because he doesn't want to hear about my day. So yeah, I've had a few people confide in me lately that they really feel as though in varying relationships in their life, they are kind of holding a lot of space for people to talk about themselves and that this isn't being reciprocated. And I'm very familiar with this, and I know that I've definitely in my lifetime been in that situation a lot where I am that good listener. And it's also because I can sort of bat away questions of when questions are being asked of me, I can sort of minimize my own experience and sort of bat those questions away to be like, oh, like I'm not that interesting. Don't worry about me. How are you? And this kind of is, quintessentially people pleasing, where we are assuming that caregiver role, we are downplaying our own needs, and we are basically just there to like listen and hold space and carry that emotional load. But in these experiences that my friends are sharing, they are expressing frustration with that. Frustration that people are lacking kind of that awareness and are just kind of going hard on, their own life and, just not really keeping the communication or the relationship in balance. And I've been thinking about this over the last few days, and I'm realizing that this podcast, like me talking to you, really does serve me, like it serves as an opportunity for me to talk freely and to share my feelings, share my thoughts, go deep on certain subjects that I'm not really talking to people about in person. These are sort of my inner narratives, my inward thoughts and feelings that I don't always know how to just talk about freely and say, hey, I'm just thinking about this like random thing. And so this podcast really does serve me well as a way to kind of unpack my various feelings and my various thoughts. And I think I have no problem talking because this is a one-way conversation. And I do think that I am approaching this as hopefully valuable or helpful to you in some way to hear me explore these topics or unpack these topics, share my personal experience. Like I'm always hoping that this isn't just me talking about me, just like, yeah, just hear me talk. Like it is meant to be useful in some kind of way. But I wanted to take this episode as an opportunity to just fill you in and talk about the things that I wouldn't typically bring up in conversation. And I really just want to approach this as this is what's been going on in my life that you may or may not really know. So let's just dig in, and it's really going to be spitballing here. So as you know, I'm living in a new city, and that has, as much as it's been an easy transition, it's also been clunky in that nothing is the same. Like everything is just slightly different. So I do feel like I am just kind of always on edge. Like always kind of got my guard up a little, or I'm going in with like a newfound awareness that I'm like sifting through a lot of new information all of the time. Like everything is just a little bit uncomfortable. Like shoving all these $1 bills in my wallet and like not really knowing how to just like pull out my money and quickly pay for things. I work at a cash register, like I work at a till. There's a loonie, as for Canadians, you know, it's our $1 coin. There's a loonie compartment in the till. And I always go to like grab the loonies, and there are no loonies because in the United States, we have $1 bills. So I've also just found like grocery shopping and just sort of like, I'm always considering like, what is the Canadian equivalent of this? Or like, why is this unfamiliar? What is different about this? My recent obsession is looking at the ingredients in things I buy at the grocery store, because I'm noticing that there are different ingredients in American food. And in a lot of cases, there's like all kinds of additives that I'm like, oh my God, this is not healthy. This is not good for me. So there's just that like layer of guardedness, just kind of like sifting through new information and trying to make sense of it. The other thing I've noticed recently is that I don't have a lot of friends here. And that was something that was so comforting about going home, was that like I knew that I had friends kind of all over the place and that I knew how to get a hold of them. There was no awkwardness because these are like lifelong friends. These are people that know me for who I am and I know them. And it's just like a solid, well-established connection. Whereas here, I am making connections, I am building friendships, but there's still that like layer of they don't really know me and I don't really know them. And I don't have that same confidence or that same comfort in knowing that I can just like text them randomly or, you know, like it's very new still. And I'm not stressing about that. I'm actually kind of leaning into the whole experience because that's sort of exciting. It's exciting to be able to meet people at this point in my life. Because we are moving into winter, we're moving into these darker days, I have also really been thinking about hobbies and creating a little bit more dimension to my everyday. And the reality is that my days are pretty busy, like, and pretty structured. Like I wake up, I try to work out some mornings, probably most often it's on the Peloton. That's another new thing. This is so hilarious. I had a Peloton while I was living in Victoria, and when I was trying to get out of debt and just like really trying to like reevaluate my finances, I sold it. And at that time, I had actually I was on a payment plan, so I didn't buy it outright. I was like paying it off. So there was a monthly expense associated with this bike. So I ended up selling it. And as soon as I moved to Port Townsend, I bought another one, which is just like kind of ridiculous, but I've been loving it. I bought it outright this time. So there's no like monthly other than the Peloton membership. But that has been so good for me and I've been loving it. I've actually just been like so inspired by some of these Peloton instructors. Like I'm just like drinking the Peloton Kool-Aid right now and I'm okay with that. It's really positive. It's really working for me. But yeah, so my daily routine often consists of like waking up, reading and doing a little bit of journaling, doing a workout, doing school and then going to work. And so by the time I'm off work, I'm like, holy shit, like I have done a lot with my day. I'm feeling pretty tired by the time I get home, and I often have to or want to walk the dog, make dinner, and just spend some time with Brian. And then it's like, whoop, and that's the end of the day, and here we go again. So I know that I have some rigidity when it comes to my routine. I really do love a routine, but there's not a lot of room or space for hobbies. And you could argue that like working out and reading and journaling, those are hobby adjacent, but they don't feel community based hobbies, which I think is something that I'm realizing that I'm missing. And I also just know that this time of year is when I can feel these like creative twinges begin to ignite, and I start to like gravitate towards Pinterest, and I start to think about like what crafts am I making for Christmas. And I really do have creative urges, but I've moved so far away from creative practices, and I'm like longing for them. I'm like yearning for an outlet where I can put some creative energy into. And I guess this podcast is in a way creative, but I want more. I don't really know what that looks like. I had this hilarious conversation on the weekend with the girl who was giving me a bikini wax. Hello, vulnerability. But we were really relating into each other because she's about to move to Vancouver and she won't know anybody, and she's kind of working in a pretty like solo job. And we were both just kind of laughing that like all of our hobbies are pretty insular, like pretty independent, and that neither one of us have really like found our like hobby, like our calling. And I was talking about how I'm sort of envious of Swifties, like Taylor Swift fans, because they have like this beautiful community. They have things that like bring them together in real life, like her concerts. They connect online over her music, and it's just like they're a part of something. And both her and I laughed that we both really have tried to like be Taylor Swift fans, and it's just like not working. It's just like not coming naturally. And we both kind of had the realization that we don't really like have like, we're not really into pottery, or we're not really into like group oriented things, because we both gravitate just towards like the people part of the connection. Like I would go to pottery to meet people, but like, do I care enough about pottery to like really sustain that as like a true hobby? So I'm trying to figure that one out, and I'm not putting too much pressure on the situation, but I am keeping my feelers open. It was really actually funny. 2 people have recommended that I join a pottery guild, which is just like, I don't know, maybe I'm giving off some kind of pottery vibe. But right now, I would say that school is like kind of my main focus. It does require a lot of my attention, but I don't want to just be like, okay, I just have to like make school my entire life for the next 2.5 years, because I know that that's just not sustainable. And I think that I find so much comfort in routine that even when I think about hobbies, I'm like, okay, I've got to find like a weekly thing that will fit into my schedule, and like that's the only way it'll work. Like I'm not very easy breezy with these types of things. I always try to like squeeze it into a routine. And maybe that's where the problem lies. And that may just kind of suck the joy out of it. So stay tuned on that one. The other area of my life that I want to share is that I am trying to get some clarity on some different areas of my health. I will be seeing a doctor here in the States. I I didn't have a doctor in Victoria. My doctor retired during COVID. And so I've been without like a general practitioner for a couple of years. And so it's really exciting that here in the States, there's actually doctors. Like, what? And I'm really actually excited to embark on a little bit of a health journey. I have been noticing that my circulation for quite some time, this is something I've known about myself for a few years, my circulation is not great. So my temperature, my body temperature really fluctuates. I go from like freezing to like sweating hot. And oftentimes I am so cold, like my feet and my hands are so cold that I am miserable. Like I am just like, I can't, I'll need to like leave the dog park early, or I'll need to like, need to just get warm. And that just becomes the only thing I can think about. And the other thing that's pretty concerning is I'm noticing that I think, holding kind of like fluid retention in my ankles. So the way I kind of know that is that my socks will feel like way too tight. And it's like, as soon as I get home from work, like that's the first thing I do. I have to like rip my socks off because it literally feels like they are suffocating the life out of my feet. And that's concerning for me. I don't like that. I know that there are ties to like water retention and things like that to diabetes. And so I'm just like really excited to go to the doctor and start exploring that. I also want to explore more holistic approaches. I am trying to find an acupuncturist here in Port Townsend, just to kind of like, get a few different perspectives. But what is within my control is I'm just trying to find more comfort for myself. And so that actually meant that I bought myself, I was like embarrassed. I put this off for so long because I was embarrassed. And this is so crazy because it's like, I'm the only one that will ever know, but now I'm telling everybody. So maybe now I can be embarrassed. They're literally called diabetes socks. They are socks that have like a looser elastic. And honestly, they have changed my life. I didn't realize how much discomfort I have been in for so long. And it was the simplest fix. Now, of course, I'm not fixing the problem. Like I still need to learn more about what's going on in my body and get to the root of the problem. But I mean, why was I withholding like this solution from myself for so long? And the other thing that, kind of goes along with this is physical exercise. And so I know that I'm like physically active pretty consistently. Like I'm pretty happy with my level of activity. I do want to begin adding more yoga in and more stretching in. Like that's just kind of always something that I need more of. And luckily the Peloton app has like a ton of yoga classes, and I'm pretty good at like being self-directed and self-motivated. So that's one thing that I'm like kind of excited about, is to just like roll my mat out in the living room and just like do a little yoga sesh. And the other thing is that I'm almost scared to say this out loud because then it's real. But I do want to challenge myself a little bit. And I like these little challenges, and they're just kind of like these short-term commitments or short-term bursts. And it's just an opportunity to try something. But Robin Arzon, who's a Peloton instructor, she is conducting this 30 days or however many days, 31 days of December. She is running 3 miles a day. So for every day of December, she is running 3 miles. And so for my Canadian friends, that's about 4.5 kilometers. And I mean, that sounds absolutely miserable, right? Like that sounds terrible. And there's something within me, something that is going on deep within my soul that is excited about that. That is like, that's the thing I need. Like I heard that and I latched onto it like so quickly. I'm like, yeah, like I am doing that. And so I want to hang on to that momentum, that excitement, that curiosity. And I just kind of want to get a sense for it because I was so proud of my commitment to running. Before moving, I ran twice a week with my girlfriend, sometimes more. And I loved it. It was so fulfilling. And I just have not found my groove since moving. I think part of it is like, I don't know what miles are. And there's like something within me that is like telling me I need to I need to track my runs by miles now because I'm here. The other piece is that Port Townsend has so many goddamn hills and I am genuinely intimidated by them. Like I almost equate them to like not being able to run, which again, that's all in my head. That's not a real reason, but that is a real thing that's coming up for me. And I just don't really know, like I had pre-planned routes in my head. Like in Victoria, I was like, okay, I know that's 5K. I know that's 10K. Like I just kind of had that local savviness and I don't have that here. And so there's just like these things that I need to push past. And I thought that having this challenge as a bit of a motivator could actually be really good for me. So that is something that I am thinking about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. I don't know even what that looks like. Like it is pitch black out. Today I was walking the dog. It was pitch black out by 4:45. It's also dark out. As I'm getting ready in the morning and working out and, all the time I'm off before work in the morning is dark. So I need to get geared up a little bit better than what I am or what I currently have. But I think that I'm excited about that. And I think it's just something that I want to try. And it's okay if I just do it for a couple days and decide, nope, I hate that. It's freezing. It's wet. But right now I am saying that I want to do it. And that's all that really matters is what's going on for me right now. So those are the updates. Those are the updates that like they're relevant and important to me. And really the reason I'm sharing is that I want this space to be about genuine connection. I want it to be about sharing and getting to know each other and also for me like getting out of the headspace that like these updates aren't important and that these updates just need to be kept to myself. Like, sure, maybe you don't care that I bought like stretchier socks, but also maybe you do. And honestly, it was a life-changing thing for me. Like it literally has given me so much joy. So maybe it's permission for you to just like share these moments of joy that are like seemingly small, but like to you, they're big. People want to know these things. I know that like if someone is excited about something, like I am immediately excited for them. I don't even care what it is. It's just like, that's great that you found that for yourself. And it's also just to, bring us all into the conversation of like, acknowledging the give and take of relationships and how to find more balance in our relationships, how to advocate for ourselves. Or maybe you're the big talker. You're the one who's taking up a lot of space. Maybe this is a reminder to just like check in on your friends, check in on yourself, check in on your friendships. Like, what are you using these friendships for? Are you using these friendships for something? That could be a good question. And it's also not, this is not to be hard on ourselves. This is not to say like we are doing anything wrong. It's just an opportunity to notice, an opportunity to self-reflect, and maybe it's an opportunity to just reach out to a friend that maybe you miss, or maybe you don't really, you're like, wait, I don't actually know what's going on with them, and I want to know. Wow, I can really yap. So that is where I'm going to end things. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support with this podcast. I love you so much. For my U.S. friends, I hope you enjoy Thanksgiving this week and that it's an opportunity to express thanks, express gratitude, share your love, share it through food, share it through just being with your people, as big or as small as that may be. And I'll be thinking about you. Bye. Once again, this is Corie with the People Pleaser Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. And if you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find daily content from me on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.